It's Reaction Monday. And, well, for the last time this year, we will be reacting to a South Carolina loss. Final score, Clemson 28, South Carolina 14. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. We are the early game. And look, I think this season, or the Clemson game, ended in the only appropriate way this season could have. You're down by 6. You get the ball back. There's 5 minutes left. You have an opportunity to go on a season-defining drive to beat an opponent you really want to beat, right? One of the marquee games on your schedule. And on the first play, you throw a pick 6.
Before you can even get any of those sentences out of your mouth, drive's over.
Drive's over. Drive's over.
I just finished saying, I literally just was saying, if we come down here and score, Clemson might implode. Like spontaneous combustion, fan base as a whole. If we come down, score, and win by 1 point, because for some reason, I did not have my Garnet glasses on, but my heart still bleeds Garnet. I still thought there was a reason that it was happening. But why would I think that after watching 12 games of this season? Why, Elijah?
What in the 11 games, 11 and a half games before that told you?
I still had hope, man. We had the ball. It looked like it wasn't going to be like a 98-yard drive or whatever it was going to be.
Yeah, I think it got pinned to the 3.
I was like, this is going to be so beautiful.
Because for some reason, you're like, you know what? Like, this is how you can end the season, like, on a good note, right? Because this would be what you remember for a while. Yes, the season was a disappointment, but if you win this game and you have that drive to do it, you can really make a good memory out of this season. But that's like the 2025 South Carolina Gamecocks, to me, will always be remembered by having a chance in every single game and just doing nothing with it. Just not doing
the worst
anything.
Possible thing.
The worst possible thing, yeah. Oh, 4th down against LSU on the road. You're finally in LSU territory a little bit. Let's throw right at the best corner in college football.
It had the same type of like a thud, just a resounding thud of the way to end the season. That was a perfect play because that play felt like that in the same way that
game against Alabama. You have it. You have the ball, and you're going to drive to try to win the game.
It's 2nd and 1. Oh, it's 4 for
Fumble.
60.
How many times this year has that happened? Oh, Texas A&M, yes, you blew a 27-point lead, but you know what? You have the ball because A&M gave you a gift because they ran the dumbest goal line play you have ever seen. And now you have your chance. All you need is a field goal.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And you turn your 2nd and 1 to a 4th and 16. And a disastrous 3-play stretch. Like, insert game here, you will find that very same storyline. That very same one, right? Oklahoma. Maybe not at the end of the game because it got non-competitive by the 4th quarter, but how many times in that game where it's like, okay, we got the ball back, their offense isn't doing much, we're in the red zone, we got to get a score. 3 straight inside zone handoffs in the red zone, and then turning it over on downs 1 play later. This team has been given a lot of opportunities to do something with this season, and they didn't do it.
There was nothing from this year that should have given me the irrational sense of belief that I had in that moment. I don't know. I was like, it's going to happen. Maybe it was like, oh, we're due. Maybe that was it.
Today is a new day, right?
But it wasn't.
It's like the reverse Lauryn Hill of like the if you've ever heard Lost Ones, where you might win some, but you just lost one. Well, it's you might lose some, but you just won one. Like that, it's the inverse, right? I was like, maybe this is where that kind of shifts a little bit. Like maybe you get one here, and on the first play, pick 6. Clemson gets the 2-point conversion. It's a 2-touchdown game. Not a soul in that stadium believed anything was changing after that. And of course, then you get the ball back, and what do you do after that? You fumble it again, just for 1-4 for good measure.
Comedy of errors.
And, and every time we tried a 2-point conversion, did we have a successful one this season?
Ooh, there's no way.
That's a great point. It's a great question.
No, and they don't, and Clemson didn't really need it and got one. Yep.
Yeah. That game summed up the season. Like, poetically, the only way this season could have ended.
And it was like a play in 3 parts. The ball hits Nick in the hands, pops up in the air. It's in the air for, it seems like 30 seconds. They catch the ball. Oh, no. They're gonna score. You know what I'm saying? It was like,
and you knew when it got in Ricardo Jones's hand that that's it. Like he's scoring. He's scoring. As soon as I saw him catch the ball, I was like, oh, that's it. That's it.
I just felt my escalated. Oh no! It's over.
I was just sitting in the press box. I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's the only way. The only way. Like it would not have made sense for them to go down the field and score a touchdown or kick a field goal. Or not, I need a touchdown. Yeah, score a touchdown, win the game. No, not in 2025. That's how you end up 4-8. But
yeah.
Honestly, this game had a lot.
To that point, to your point right there, if I was an outside observer and I just tuned into the noon game, it was a really fun, entertaining game to watch if I had no stakes involved.
Exactly. You had a 4-possession stretch where you're like, this is fun. Like, dare I say it, this game has gotten fun.
Yeah. It was a fun game. It was an entertaining game. I was just vested in it, and I didn't like the way it turned out. But if it was a game that I was watching with no vested interest, it would have been a pretty entertaining game. Very competitive. Both teams played hard. You know what I'm saying? But
good game, good effort.
It was
It's
cool.
a crap bowl.
Sure.
Really, neither team was great.
That was the point. I mean,
So it made it fun.
in watching the game, I made this point to Elijah and on text, like, if you were a Clemson fan, that's exactly what you thought was going to happen. If you're a South Carolina fan, both teams lived up to what they've been all season.
Yeah, really, in that game. And somebody had to win it by virtue of that's how football works, right? 2 teams play, one team must win. One must leave as the victor. But if you just want to go through all of the results that South Carolina's had in games this year, this is the most 50 ways to lose a football game type team I think that you could imagine, because they did something I have never, ever seen in terms of like studying stats and box scores. They outgained Clemson on a yards per play basis. Now you can lose the yards per play battle or win the yards per play battle and still lose. Like that's not incredibly rare, but what is rare is when you outgain them on average 2 yards per play more and still found a way to lose by 2 scores. Now technically it was closer to 2, but it's 6.9 to 5.3. Usually when it's that much of a gap, you're probably winning. But not only did you not win, you found a way to still lose by 2 scores in that game.
I mean, do we have to count the last score?
It did happen.
It did happen. In my mind, it was 20-14. That's the final score.
That was spiritually it is 20-14. It was a 1-score game spiritually.
I just act like that last one didn't happen, or the 2 points.
And now here's the wild thing. Cade Klubnik now is 2-1. Will end his career at Clemson 2-1 against South Carolina, and did not have to throw a single touchdown pass to win either of those games. He didn't throw a single touchdown pass in those 3 games, not one, and was 2-1.
Legend.
In his own mind.
2-1. And has more wins against South Carolina than thrown touchdown passes against South Carolina.
Wow.
That's rich for the man who wore the big black cowboy hat. I don't know if you saw that on social media coming in. All black cowboy hat, I guess presumably for the funeral. Cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, hey, you won, so it looks a lot cooler when you win, right? If you'd have gone in and lost, it wouldn't have aged very well. But that's how it happens. And we didn't have any flag planting controversy, but the intrusive thoughts were there for one of the Clemson players who had it. And in my mind, I'm like, just do it. Yeah, I mean, do it. Go for it. I mean, look, almost anybody that walked into the stadium was able to plant a flag. To put that flag with the rest of them because Alabama was able to, Oklahoma was able to, Vanderbilt was able to.
Oof.
Almost anybody that was a Power 4 team that came into the stadium, not named Kentucky. Congrats, Kentucky. Got to plant something here.
Congrats for what, Kentucky? Late breaking news?
Mark Stoops?
I think I've seen some reports.
Oh, I've not seen those. So much that has happened, like in college football in the last 48 hours.
I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna wait till 8:45. Winner, college football.
Yeah.
College football winner, because on the field and off the field, what a weekend,
dude. with all of the games, you had a lot of excitement on the field. But buddy, I never thought that a Sunday in late November, the NFL is like a day where the NFL is not king. It
NFL
was
was
not
backseat.
king.
I did not really even consider. I was too glued. Maybe another winner, big time loser a lot of the times, but sometimes X delivers. And yesterday was the day when Twitter was on fire. That's the type of day that it's designed for.
Whenever a head coach leaves his team that is college football playoff bound. Oh, Kentucky is going to fire Mark Stoops. Oh, so, in that case, congrats, Kentucky.
I had to check and make sure it wasn't no 3 or no 3 sports. It was on 3.
On 3.
From straight to the email, breaking news.
Wow. Well, because they didn't just lose to Louisville. They got smacked against Louisville. A Louisville team whose season was in free fall going into that game.
And that's why these games make a huge difference, because no fan base feels good. Obviously, you're familiar with the Tennessee fan base. There was rumblings, but after that happens to you by them, and it's always like the idea of by them.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
By those guys.
Yeah.
You got outclassed by Vanderbilt this year.
And that's why Elijah, with 3 minutes left, 97 yards to go, down by 6.
You were like, magic can happen here. Magic can't happen here. Well, and you saw twice in that game, like large plays fuel South Carolina's offense. You hit on 2 massive explosives, but you couldn't engineer drives.
Yeah.
You know how many plays South Carolina ran in Clemson territory in the first half? 0. None. Zilch. Did not run a single play past the 50, because your 2 scores were like 53 and 70-something yards, right? You didn't have to cross midfield to score those touchdowns. And then once you got past midfield in that first half, or in the second half, you didn't figure out a way to score. You, I think, rightfully went for it on 4th down and had three different options you can throw. One of them is wide open in the flat, where Mo Brown would still have to make a move and get a first down. Well, then about 7-8 yards behind him, Brady Hunt also open. Ball doesn't go there. Ball goes midfield, and it gets deflected, and then it's a turnover on downs. Again, an absolute microcosm of the season. The entire game was reflective of everything you saw from that team through 11 games prior.
Yeah, if you want to learn about these 2 teams, you just had to watch that game.
Just watch that game. Sums it up. Sums it up perfectly. And poetically, again, the only way that 2025 could have ended was in that fashion. 803-404-6100. It's Reaction Monday. Firehouse Subs text line and the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. We'll get to Ray on the other side as you're listening to our last Gamecock Reaction Monday here on the early game. Well, football may let you down. Sometimes your team can be unreliable in terms of providing results. But Midstate Roofing, not the case, because for 3 decades, they have been that leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry and have proven themselves over the course of history to be able to give you proper advice, service, and guaranteed results to the very specific needs of your facility. And they do it in a manner that's both safe and pleasing to your operation. The best part about Midstate Roofing, too, for me, is that you can call even after hours, because sometimes when you have issues with roofing and waterproofing, sometimes those issues can't wait for the business day, right? If it happens late at night or early in the morning, sometimes you need somebody to be able to rely upon, to be able to answer the phone, and Midstate Roofing does, because you can still speak to an on-call technician after hours, or Midstate Roofing member Deering Hours. Again, the number 803-356-1919 or always online at midstateroofing.com.
Starting off your Monday nicely. No accidents, no significant slowdowns. Forecast cloudy today and going to be about 50, overnight low of 40, but heavy rain coming in tomorrow. More significantly in the morning, high of 53, but then those overnight lows for the next couple nights will be about 33, so a little on the brisk side early in the mornings. 52 under sunshine on Wednesday, 57 on Thursday. Right now, though, sitting at 46 on 107.5 The Game.
It's Reaction Monday, so we'll be getting your thoughts all day long here on the early game. And we'll start us off, of course, with our man Ray on the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Ray, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, well, of course, I want to talk about the game first, but then I'll talk about our illustrious coach. But anyway, just the game itself, I don't know. We seemed to like a little bit of focus, and I think that led to turnovers. But, this is where I looked at it. I thought some of the turning points were, starting in the second half there. First time we got the ball, and it's 4th and 1. Now, I know we're down at our 34, but you're 4 and 7. 4 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a time to go for it and just, make a point right then. And then, after our defense stopped Clemson, and, the first quarter defense did really good, but the second quarter Clemson figured it out, and it just looked like we're going to be able to stop them again. But we made that crucial stop there. And then, whether the guy touched the punter or not, I just didn't think it was a good play to try to block that punt, set up the return. Beamer he can't keep himself. He's got to do something like that on special teams. But I thought that was a bad decision. Then I guess it was it late third quarter or early fourth quarter, but it wasn't a fourth quarter. So we finally got down inside the scoring, down inside, I think, the 30-yard line twice. Okay. Believe it or not, guys, all of a sudden, the first time we got down there, we got some form of running the ball. Number one, he had to run for about 8 yards. Then the next play, he had to run for about 12 or 13 yards. So we're down at the 22-yard line, guys. So what do we do on our very next 3 plays? We throw the ball. And they weren't high percentage passes, and then, there was that interception in the end zone. So that was a killer there. So then, and at this point, it's a 6-point game. So we hold them again. We get the ball. We get down there again, guys. It's a 6-point game. We're down inside, I think, around the 30-yard line, and it's 3rd and 3. Now, we had discovered we have, got a little bit of running going. In this same series, Sellers, he had that where he got to the edge, he got about 14 yards. So 3rd and 3. Wouldn't you at least want to get Sellers on the edge one time? I mean, you got a 235 to 40-pound quarterback who's strong. Heck, I think he could get down to the center twice and give you 3 yards. But we throw two balls, very low percentage. I know you said there was a guy open or whatever, but I still think you run it there. I mean, I think that was very, very critical there, And I tell you what, guys, any of these guys that jump in the portal, I feel bad for them, guys, because they're not going to be part of our playoff run next year,
It was promised. It was promised.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to get to. I know, Elijah. So Shane, I made the comment. I said, if Shane makes that comment of how great our culture is in our building and how much each family loves each other, I said, if he made that comment one more time, I'm checking out from him. I'm always going to be a Gamecock, but I'm checked out from Shane Bieber. But Preston, he's not 100% sure. He's not 1,000% sure. He's 1,000,000% sure.
It's a high percentage.
It'll be 1 billion by the time we get to media days.
It was 1 billion. Yeah, see, I didn't even go high enough. Jeez. So that's what's going to happen. And he's going to sit in press conference after the Clemson game next year, and he's going to tell all the press corps, "I told you so." Well, I just don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing right now. To me, Coastal and Kentucky, a basketball school, seems to take their football a little more seriously. Our BOT would never approve a $28 million payout. So, of course, Beamer's coming back. But just talking about Sellers, I got to ask you something, Preston. When you played with guys like Stanley Doty, Kalimba Edwards, Sharpshire, and Shannon Wally, if y'all went up against an offensive line like South Carolina has this year, would you guys be licking your chops?
Yeah, I think that's what Clemson was doing. I think T.J. Parker automatically found himself. He's like, oh, I am a first-round guy.
I will win at the line of scrimmage every single play.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Ray. Watching film all year, you could probably surmise how that was going to turn out. And Peter Wood, T.J., and then number 13, where'd this guy come from? He's all of a sudden, I guess the transfer from Purdue.
Will Help. Oh, yeah. He was that guy was. And you want to talk about the game MVP? He might have been the game MVP.
He's everywhere. So. Yeah, there's definitely this idea of, hey, man, it's time to go eat when you see food in front of you. And I think the D-line for Clemson saw food in front of them.
Yeah. Oh, and to be honest, I mean, dominated the line of scrimmage. Clemson dominated the line of scrimmage. Really both sides of it, because Carolina wasn't stopping Clemson's running game. Adam Randall had an incredible day. And the guy was picking up over 4 yards a carry, picked up first downs, continued to move the chains. Like, there's a reason that Clemson dominated time of possession, right? There's a reason that Clemson was able to run almost 20 more plays than South Carolina. They weren't hitting on a lot of the explosives that Carolina was in the first half, but it didn't matter because they were sustaining drives, and they sustained drives throughout the entire game. And all that is in large part by your ability to control the line of scrimmage. Appreciate the call as always, Ray. Good stuff there. We'll go ahead and get back to the AAA heating and air phone lines. We will get to Taylor, who is now up. Taylor, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning, fellas. I just wanted to say I'm 26 years old, and the Gamecocks have not won since at home against Clemson since I was in the 8th grade, and that's kind of ridiculous.
Long time. Long time.
Yeah, it's got to improve. And I also want to be congratulated. I am a displaced fan, and so I think you guys should congratulate me for being a displaced fan. I no longer have to see a game in Williams-Brice. I'm being displaced.
Hey man, what I saw on the internet, man, the Lord works in mysterious ways. You never know. It might be a blessing.
Yeah, there's good news, bad news, right? Yeah, bad news. Your
and
team
we don't
lost
know which
again.
is which.
And good news, well, you don't have to go back to watch it. Oh, there's a silver lining everywhere, if you find it. Taylor's right though. So Taylor, as a 26-year-old fan, has not seen South Carolina beat Clemson at home since he was in the 8th grade. I think that was my first football season outside of high school. It has been a long time. It has been a long, long time. Your only wins in that time frame against Clemson have been on the road, which, yes, fun to win on the road. But, man, you want to talk about a fan base that is starved to be able to go into their home stadium and watch them beat their rival. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It has been a very long time, and I completely understand that frustration. And, of course, what happened on Saturday was the ultimate culmination of the perfect way this team could lose that football game. Before we get to the break, we'll get to Andy on the line. Andy, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, man, the ACC officiating had a hell of a game, didn't they?
Well, they made sure we didn't forget about them.
Oh, God. I was not happy. It's not why we lost, but it wasn't good. I'm just going to put it like that. That's not why we lost. And congratulations to Clemson. They came to play. Mm-hmm. They were laying the wood down. They were smacking us. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but
yep.
I was there, and I was like, I heard it. I didn't hear us hitting them when we hit them, but I heard when they laid the shoulder down a couple of times. I was like, oh, that hurt me up here in the stands. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, that 26-year-old fella. We haven't had an offensive line since he's been here either. So, that's why it ultimately stopped at Beamer. So that's all I say. It's like you can't say anything. It was just the game was there to win. It wasn't like it was out of reach for a long time. It wasn't like, and I'm like you, pull out. We should have pulled out all the stops. Why not try anything? But there's always next year, fellas. Talk to you later.
That's true. Andy, I love how you ended that, is that there's always next year. There will always be next year.
As a Bears fan, I'm so tired of hearing that phrase.
But guess
It
what?
comes.
But
Guess what?
Finally.
It finally came. Baby.
I mean, it's only since what, 2005? Yeah.
Next year is finally here.
Next year is finally here for Jen Jensen. You know what?
Yeah.
And also Cubs baseball, all those years of saying, well, we'll always have next year, paid off eventually.
So have hope, Gamecock fans.
Oh, yes. Sports fandom can be good and bad for your health. We'll get to, on the other side, how South Carolina did against what they judged themselves by, because it's really, again, a microcosm of the year. We'll get to that next.
Press here for our folks at Integrated Media. If you would have called Integrated Media, you could have had your whole outdoor setup ready. You could have been frying the turkey, watching all of the great sports over the weekend, all of the games. You could have had it set up. But that's okay. There's still time because guess what? There's more games. There's still more time, and the spring is coming. So you can get your outdoor setup ready with Integrated Media. Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof. Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music. Wi-Fi that works indoor and outdoor so you can have all your devices playing. You don't have to miss a thing with no lag time. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat, monitoring your security from your cell phone, Integrated Media is who you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or reach them online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
Looking good this early Monday morning. No accidents at this time. 50 for the high today, overnight low of 40. The rain will be coming in. Morning rain, potentially heavy, and a high of 53 tomorrow. Overnight low of 33. Wednesday, a high of 52. So going to be in the 50s most days. Looks like maybe Friday could be rain and 46. So kind of an ick day on Friday. But it is 46 currently on 107.5 The Game.
Clemson 28, South Carolina 14. And, well, as was the case in a lot of games this year, have a chance to take the lead late in the game, drive for your season, ends in a pick six, and then you compounded your issues on a fumble the very next drive once you got the ball back. And, well, really, I mean, if you wanted to sum up South Carolina's season, just watch Saturday's game, and I think you will find everything you need to.
Well, no doubt. Any problem that you had throughout the season showed up in this last game. Every single affliction that we had showed its head in this particular game. Everyone. It doesn't matter what your particular issue is, whether it was with the play calling, whether it was with the offensive line, whether it was with the way that our players wear their uniforms. My gosh. Who is still steams? It gets me steaming. The way, come on, man.
I would love just to be a fly on the wall while Preston's yelling at his TV about the way players are
My thing is this, man. Hey, listen, if you want to look sloppy, you better be balling. If not, to be, especially the O-line, this is big man to big man here. If you're a big man and you looking sloppy, it's not a good look. Tuck it in, dog.
Tuck it in.
Man, it is a...
Well, like they always say in the business world, dress for the job you want.
I hear you.
Dress for success.
Yes.
Okay, well, you're dressing for a slob fest.
They were not
so
dressing
you're
for
not
a
gonna
success.
win.
They were not dressing for a success, and there was a very clear, stark contrast between the way we were dressed and the way they were dressed. And I'm just saying that. Anyway, that's my personal gripe. But if you had other gripes, they all showed up in this game.
They absolutely did. It's Reaction Monday, 803-404-6100. My man Ernest is on the line. Ernest, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning, gentlemen. This season was atrocious. We wasted talent. This season, we wasted talent. Last season, heck, we wasted talent when Marcus Lattimore was here. Is it the coaches? Is it the athletic director? Or is it the same old thing that we say? Is it the chicken curse? We waste talent.
Yeah, I understand that's a really good way, another good way to sum up this season, because you were top 15 in the country preseason for a reason. Honestly, it's not like the roster was just filled with holes, right? We had question marks like you would on any team going into any season, but the good teams find a way to make up for those, right? They answer those questions during the season, and South Carolina just didn't, right? It was kind of like whack-a-mole, right? We talked about this summer pretty thoroughly that, okay, you have a lot of guys you have to replace on defense, and defensively, you were good. You weren't great. Last year, you were great. This year, you were good. You were a top 30 defensive team in SP+. That's solid, right? That's acceptable, right? Because there'll be teams in the college football playoff that are in that range. Solid, acceptable. Even Vanderbilt defensively, outside the top 30 in defensive SP+, they're 10-2. But missing the portal evaluation on the offensive line was big, and not being able to utilize a lot of the talent that you had and not being able to turn that into wins ultimately is how you end up being a preseason top 15 team. And then when December rolls around, you're looking back on it like, oh, we're 4-8. We did not do what we needed to with the talent that you had in the room.
Yeah, I mean, and to Ernest's point about wasting talent, we had the generational talent at quarterback come through this program that may have not been matched by anybody in a total package. Yeah, there's been other quarterbacks that have had pieces of what he has, but Lenoris has it all. And yes, the answer to the question that was asked, did Lenoris regress this year?
Yes.
Yes, obviously. That is a very fair point. That is particularly partly on him, but also would be remiss if we didn't mention that we just fired the offensive coordinator who was also the quarterback's coach, the person responsible for this player's development, and he didn't do either one of those jobs. So not only did he screw us by not being an offensive coordinator, but he also was not a quarterback's coach.
He did not develop.
He didn't develop the quarterback, so that's 0 for 2. That's his fault, but then going backwards, that's Shane's fault for allowing that to happen under his watch. So, yeah, Ernest, great point. Wasted a generational talent, and who knows what the future holds, but we blew this one this year.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Wasting talent will result in wasting seasons, right? And if anybody wants to argue, oh, well, we don't have as much talent as you think we did. Okay, well, let's look at blue chip ratio, right? Like Bud Elliott at CBS has, that's not even a theory. Like this is like proven. Since the BCS era, teams that have won national titles all had more 4 or 5 stars on their roster than 2 or 3 stars or whatever, right? Like you have more blue chip players than you don't on the roster. And coming into the season, he had his list of teams that fulfilled the blue chip ratio. And he had 2 teams, he said, that were really close to making it. You're like a recruiting cycle away from getting into that club. Those 2 teams were South Carolina and Ole Miss. So in terms of recruiting, in terms of evaluation of recruiting, Ole Miss and South Carolina were looked to be on a similar plane. Ole Miss is 11-1 and going into the college football playoff, even despite having a head coach who was maybe mentally checked out for a couple weeks, right? They did it despite all the circus that their own coach created. South Carolina's 4-8. That tells me something. That tells me a lot. It's not that the talent's not there. The talent is certainly there. You just did not get it out of them, especially when you really needed it to in big games this season.
The waste in talent. I think, Ernest, this is a great point, and that's something you could probably look at going forward, which may question why Shane is making these proclamations, and I hear you, but I don't know if we have any evidence to believe you as of right now because, again, not only did we have a generational quarterback in which we wasted the talent, but we had a 5-star offensive tackle, which does not come by. And, buddy, I'm here to tell you, he has gone so far backwards. Mm-hmm. And I don't know whether that's through coaching or whether that's through him or whatever the situation is, but Josiah Thompson is not even close to being a starter on another team. I'm not sure he would start on another team. And to Ray's point, yeah, when those defensive ends lined up against him, they just saw food in front of him. And he was supposed to be a 5-star guy, which, again, the offensive line coach did not evaluate, which, again, falls under Shane Beamer because he allowed that to happen for sustained periods of time.
That's the entire job of the coaching staff, is to be able to, like, recruiting is a big part of the job, right? But what's the difference between teams that recruit really well and still get results? They develop the players, because no high school football player is going to come into college in day one and be a finished product. You have to mold them. You have to get them to where they're supposed to be. So much of the recruiting analysis, whether it be a 4-star player, 5-star player, whatever, is all based on what you can be. Right? Because I've seen so many 4 or 5-star players be underwhelming at the college level because they just never fulfilled the potential. But I could see why someone would think that. They're really fast, or they're really big, at the position. They have great size, speed, whatever, right? I could see what the potential is, but they don't ever get it together once they get into college. But a coach's job is to be able to get you to that point. And last year, a big difference between last year and this year, a lot of those players got better as the season went along. Josiah Thompson got better as the season went along last year and completely diverted to what he was on day one. Lenore Sellers got a lot better at the end of last year. We talked about his 6-week stretch all offseason, and we didn't see half of that this season. That is development. All of that stems on player development. We'll get to Steve on the other side. We'll also get to the criteria this team sets out for themselves because, well, we're going to sound like a broken record because we'll be talking about the same shortcomings in some of those categories that we have in the 11 previous weeks of this football season. All of that and more on the early game coming up next. 803-404-6100. That's the number to call to chime in and interact with us on Reaction Monday. So we'll get out to the AAA Heating and Air phone line. Steve has been waiting patiently. Good morning, Steve. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How you doing this morning?
Fine. Hope you had a good holiday. Everything is fine except the game side. But listen, I rented this building to do the tailgate, and a bunch of Clemson Carolina fans were in there together. We all knew each other because you know how Clemson Carolina fans can get, so we made sure everybody knew one another. Would be no stranger come in with no issues. You know, we had a good time. But the question was raised up. Clemson fans started chatting, Blaine, bring him back. Well, we already know he's coming back. And I explained to one of my Gamecock fans, the only reason why Beamer is coming back is not because of his coaching ability. I want Gamecock Nation to hear this. It's because of the ridiculous buyout that Ray Town left behind. That's the only reason. Because you can't, and another thing, you can't predict nothing when you don't know what you're going to have. Those kids can tell you something right now, but January, you don't know what you're going to have. So how are you going to sell people on something that you don't know? I mean, let's face it. What if Lane Kiffin come out to the North Sellers? You know, think about it. And then, okay, Lord decided to go. We think little brother gonna do. We think Nick Harper gonna do. I mean, you got to be thinking before you do just sell people on something that's like you don't really know what's gonna happen. And then too, it's just frustrating. I mean, I want to see the Gamecocks get there, man. But I'm like Ray. I heard Ray earlier. I'm kind of like this, you know. It just I don't understand. I hope the best for us, man. But just I don't know. I don't know where we're at, and I just don't see it turning around. I don't know if next year gonna be worse or better. But like I said, you don't know who you're gonna have. I mean, you already got kids decommitting from high school already. So
had one flip to Florida State.
Yeah. So in a way, I mean, that's good game card. That's all I can say. I'm with them, but it's kind of hard to pull for a team. You know, support the coaches there. I mean, it's kind of hard. But anyway, I appreciate y'all taking the call.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you calling, Steve. And I think that's reflected. I mean, you want to be optimistic for next year, but to Steve's point, like that's just college football now it's a era of roster turnover. That is every single year. You're going to have some element of it. You got a lot of young players in this team that you'd like to be able to come back, but you also want to be able to see signs that they improve. And that just kind of goes back to what we talked about in the last segment, that if you're not developing them and they're still the same players they are when they got here, then it can be hard to see that silver lining of a young team coming back.
Yeah, and so, yeah, with Shane, I think what Shane maybe is missing is that I'm not sure if that was the right time and place to make that sort of a bombastic statement because people are not here for that at that moment. Maybe a little bit later, maybe whatever, maybe during the spring after we see some progress, but after the loss, that might have made you feel better, but I don't think that made anybody in the fan base feel like, all right, we're ready to go now because we're 4-8 coming off of a loss to a rival in which all of the bad things happened. So I don't think Steve's sentiment, I think that represents a large part of the fan base.
Absolutely, it does. And going back to kind of like the development part, when we do this, looking at, you know, how South Carolina wants to win games and kind of the barometer they judge themselves by, it's been the same thing a lot this year. There are a few of those things that you just have not won those battles a lot this year. In terms of running the ball and stopping the run, somehow, miraculously, South Carolina on sack-adjusted yards per carry won that one. You would not have guessed by watching, but they did. Because I think in terms of sacks, there were, I think Lenoris got sacked 5 times. So take 5 out of that rushing total. In terms of non-sack rushing attempts, you ran the ball only 14 times. And in those, you were picking up almost 5 yards a carry. Probably should have done that a little bit more. But the explosive play battle, South Carolina's only 2 scorers were on explosive plays, but Clemson won the explosive play battle by 1, and a lot of that came on the ground. Turnover battle, you turned it over 4 times. Clemson only turned it over once. And then, of course, the one this year, dominate the fourth quarter. I'm putting that in air quotes because you just haven't done that all year. You lost 8-0 in the fourth quarter. when it's a one-score game going into the fourth quarter. One-score game going into the final period of the game, and you don't close it out. So many games this year. Missouri on the road, Ole Miss on the road, Texas A&M on the road, Alabama at home. You had one-score games in the fourth quarter, and not only did you not dominate it, you didn't show up in them.
You lost the game in the fourth quarters.
You lost the game in all of those fourth quarters, all those games right there. You had a chance, and you did nothing with the opportunity. That is how you're 4-8 in a season. And to me, that is what sums up a lot of the failures of the team this year. Now, hour number 2 is coming up next. We'll get Jen's observations. Jenny from the box, your calls, your texts, more reaction here on Reaction Monday.
Hey, are you looking to do some updates in your home? Maybe looking for a countertop for your kitchen or your bath? Well, I've got the place to go for you, and that is Columbia. It is Carolina Stone Craftsman just outside Columbia in Chapin. They do understand updating kitchens and baths. Those projects can be significant investments, but they do work to ensure the highest quality, most affordable granite, marble, and quartz while still providing the best customer service. I'm telling you, it's simple. Great countertops with no compromises. The work we've done with them on a couple of bathrooms when we needed some countertops, they did absolutely fantastic for us. And they helped us figure out what we needed because we weren't even sure. And then every step of the way, every step of the process was great. If you are in the market for countertops for your kitchen or bath, I do encourage you to reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman. Tell them Jen sent you. They're family owned and operated just beyond Columbia in Chapin and beyond your expectations, I promise. Visit them online, carolinastonecraftsman.com. One accident to make you aware of, and that's Fish Hatchery Road near Highway 6. The forecast for today, we're looking for mostly cloudy conditions. 50 will be our high. That overnight low will be about 40. And then we have rain coming in really overnight and into the morning. It's going to be potentially heavy rain starting about after midnight, and that will continue for a good part of the day tomorrow. So do expect that at least until maybe like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And then the rain should be clearing out. And on Wednesday, a high of 52. Right now, we are looking at fair skies, and it is 46 on 107.5 The Game.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. We have been reacting to South Carolina's 28-14 season-ending loss to Clemson. And there are a lot of themes, right? We can break down the game, and we are and will continue to do that. But this is also a day for a post-mortem look at the season because it's over. There are no more games to preview. The 2025 season is now done. That book is written, right? Sorry, Natasha Bedingfield. There is not anything left to be unwritten here. It is done. This is sent to the publisher.
Wouldn't that be great if we could unwrite it?
Yes. If
this season was like invisible inked, that would be amazing.
We could just do it over again.
Yeah. Let's try part 2.
Oh, yeah. Like, can we get a mulligan?
Exactly.
Does that work in football?
I love that idea.
Do they allow that in this?
I'll grant it. Yeah.
I'd grant it. And I know that everybody in that building would want to grant it. Because,
I got you, Shane. I got you.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're rescheduled Virginia Tech. We're going back to Atlanta.
Yep.
We're meeting up there. We're just gonna do the whole season over again. Everybody get back on the schedule. We'll do this over again.
Just play the first drive from Virginia Tech. Let's play that one on loop. That was fun.
Oh, man. I still remember what's going through my head during that first drive of that game, thinking, oh, this is going to be a really fun season. I can't think of a worse, most ineffective bellwether to a season than that first drive. Has a first drive of the season ever duped as many people as that one did?
Gotcha.
I bit. Hand up here. Bit on it. Oh, it's brutal. But what does this game not just say about South Carolina's program, but even Clemson's program too? Because I think this game, because of how it was won and how it was played, I think says something about the two programs.
I'm listening.
Both teams had very disappointing seasons.
Yes.
Both teams knew this was going to be the game that you end the season on. And you have to have it for South Carolina, actually for both teams, for some type of moral comfort, right? Because this is the game that you can't lose. This is the at least we're not them bowl, right?
Yep.
One team was completely prepared to be able to execute a game plan and it was physical throughout the entire game, right? You can watch that game. One of my biggest takeaways, just as I'm watching it, is one team is controlling the line of scrimmage. That team was Clemson. They were getting a lot of pressure on Lenore Sellers in getting home. Carolina was getting some pressure, but they weren't getting home enough on Cade Klubnik, right? And then on the other, like when it comes to running the ball, Clemson did whatever they want on the ground. It wasn't like they were running for like 7 yards a pop, but they were power rushing really well. If it was a short yardage situation, they were converting it. If they needed to extend the drive, they were, because they were able to run the ball really well. There's a reason Adam Randall went for over 100 yards in that game. Clemson just won the line of scrimmage. They did. They won the game at the line of scrimmage. And when it came time to winning this thing, down to winning time, we got to the fourth quarter, it's winning time. South Carolina has the ball with a chance to drive down the field and take the lead and take over this game. And Clemson took advantage of a mistake and put it away. Because that's at least, yes, those players haven't won a national title, but that is a program that has won national titles. So even in a disappointing season, one team, when they were given an opportunity to end the regular season on a good note, was not afraid to take the game over. They weren't afraid to end that game right then and there.
Yeah, and even you don't even have to go back to the national titles, right? They're perennially successful. So they go into the game thinking that we're going to figure out a way. Every time Clemson loses, it's a surprise. Mm-hmm. It's like, what? How did this happen?
Which is what made this year so weird.
This is why this year was so weird. And you're right. They came in with a physicality, and they came in with a mission statement as we're going to be tougher than them at the point of attack, and they proved it throughout the game. And that was kind of the MO for that particular game. And it was pretty clear early what they were trying to do, and they did it. As the caller said, they were physical. You could hear them smacking folks around. That was sort of what they came into the game to do, and they did it.
Yeah. And that was just kind of, the more I sat and thought about it after the game, I was like, well, this should have been a little more obvious, is because of like what the programs are, right? South Carolina under Shane Beamer has had 2 really successful years, but just haven't followed them up. You've seen like seasons snowball. 2023 was one of those seasons that you fell early. You had some bad injury luck, sure, but the losses continue to pile up. in snowball until you had a little bit of success in November and then lost to Clemson to make it 5-7 and kind of end your season there. This year, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like your losses end up stacking up. We just haven't seen that from Clemson a lot. Like you said, when they lose, it's a surprise because they have dominated that conference, right? They were even, quote unquote, down last year and still found a way to win that conference and get themselves into the college football playoff, which is what made them being 6-5 coming into this game all the surprise, right? The biggest shock in that conference this year was that Clemson got bulldozed by a couple teams, right? Like SMU and Duke, right? Like those games aren't supposed to happen. And the fact Duke's in the ACC title game despite being like 7-5 is hilarious to me. And also your conference is too damn big. But the more I sit and think about it, the more that game is reflective as to the difference between those two programs.
Yeah, and so that's why I was really saying that this game was a moratorium on where these programs were going, what was going to be the future of this program. And that's why with 3 minutes left, down 6, driving, I was like, man, if we win this game, Clemson is going to implode. Mm-hmm. Because it was going to be a case of how we lose to them, not in this moment. Dabo don't have it anymore. We can't. It was all of those things. And I know the Clemson fans felt a little bit of that. Unfortunately, we only gave them not even a play to feel those feelings. We didn't even give them a chance to feel those feelings because we did what we've done all season.
The pick 6 happened so fast where there wasn't time for Lemon Booty to be.
It didn't even get in. It didn't even set in. The lips didn't even pucker up before that time. It was about to, but it never did. And that was the difference between those two programs. So obviously they had a disappointing season. Cool. They beat their rival. They'll go to a mediocre bowl. And when Dabo, with his pedigree behind him, with 20 ACC championships as a program, 5 in a row, another Clemson championship, when Dabo says that we're going to be back, we're going to be get right, trust me, I'd be inclined to trust him.
Yeah. When
Shane says we're going to be here 1,000,000,000%, I can't give you the benefit of the doubt anymore. You don't have that. You don't get that right. And that's what the fan base has given Shane the benefit of the doubt through this year, but we can't do that anymore.
And I almost feel like the way it has been the last few years, it's kind of like when you're playing on a slot machine. Oh, I hit it, so let me keep putting it in, and oh man, it's falling down again. And then all of a sudden I hit it, so I'm going to play some more. That's kind of what I feel like the fans are right now. It's like, okay, we got a high, had a good season, 9 wins, back to or down below the season before, then 9 wins, then it's just that up and down. We just don't have that consistency, and so like, where do you set the bar? Because the bar's all over the place.
Right, I definitely agree with that. And so that's the thing. As far as the program's concerned, I know a lot of Clemson fans, they're used to the land of milk and honey, and this is not where they're used to living. I understand that, but I would have confidence in them getting it right. If I am a South Carolina fan, go Gamecocks. But Shane can't get the benefit of the doubt anymore.
Yeah.
That goodwill has been wasted this year. And I think that's fair for everybody if you feel that way.
And it'd be one thing, too, if coming into the season you were expecting regression, right? Or if you looked at the roster and you said, okay, well, in college football in 2025, it can be pretty cyclical. Some years you'll have it, some years you don't. This year we just might not have it. But, we're invested because we'll see where this thing goes. That wasn't the case. You went into the season with your quarterback returning, your star edge rusher returning, a wide receiver who was getting better throughout his career where you're like, okay, the offense can take the next step. Or a defense led by Clayton White where you're like, okay, yeah, we lost a lot of NFL dudes, but we love the scheme. You're developing talent on that side of the ball that, okay, oh, yeah, we're also returning the guy who led the SEC in interceptions. Like, the pieces were there. It wasn't like you're coming into the season the way Kentucky was coming into the season, right? I could clock Kentucky being 5-7 from a mile away, right? There's a reason I picked Kentucky to be last in the SEC at SEC Media Days. You could see that coming, right? And maybe in some years, like at least, under the 13 years of Mark Stoops, you'd come into a season saying, oh, watch out for Kentucky this year. And that's usually when they have their good seasons. In some years, you can come into it being like, okay, I can see them being 5-7, 4-8, whatever, right? It's just going to be a down year. All programs have, up years and down years. And going into those, usually you can set a reasonable level of expectation. A reasonable level of expectation for this team could have been 8-9 wins, right? And the whole theme for this program going into the year, how many times did we hear, do you want to go farther? How many times did we hear about you're so close to the college football playoff? That's why a lot of guys are back, because we have a good feeling, and the guys in that room, that we can get there. It was reasonable to expect this team to be a top 15 team in the country. It was reasonable to demand that they're a top 15 team in the country. And even if you don't get that by the end of the season, it's reasonable to say, hey, even if things don't go well this year, 8-4 should still be on the table. Maybe you could even live with 7-5 with a couple of close losses. But 4-8 is just so far away from what this roster has and what you were last year that's where the unacceptable part of this ultimately lies when we're looking at the season in hindsight.
You know who else went 4-8 this year? Somebody that I've been making fun of mercilessly. Bill Belichick went 4-8.
Ooh.
And nobody's talking about, that program, right? Nobody's saying like that was a.
That's because Jordan is threatening everybody.
Right. Well, we might get sued. Yeah, I guess.
I want to make
successfully.
I want to make fun of them so bad, but I can't because my team's 4-8.
5-7 is gone. You got Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
can't make fun of them.
Mm-mm.
You're at the bottom. That's where this game, that's why this game was very important. That's why this game was hugely important, because we would still be having a lot of these same conversations, but maybe with a win, you may be inclined to, that's just how it works, man. I may be inclined to listen more. Now, I don't really want to hear that.
You in October, November, you won only one game, and it was against a team that also fired their coach. Also a team that's not in the Power Four. That's 2 months.
Brent Pry, Mark Stoops.
Oh, wow. Oh, there's a theme. Chennis Berry's not getting fired at South Carolina State.
He's a winner.
So, he's a winner. In terms of power or FBS team.
Did something just happen?
Coach killers.
Tim Beck,
because Tim Beck at Coastal Carolina got fired. All of the FBS wins South Carolina got this year were against programs that fired their coach.
Whoa.
I love when we kind of all collectively piece together something on this show.
Kind of like in Friends where, everybody comes to the conclusion that all of a sudden Joey's thinking about it. It's like, come on, get to it sooner. Like, oh, yeah.
It happened.
Wow.
Well, obviously, shout out to the Bulldogs. Yeah. Celebration Bowl Saturday.
It's a big one.
Big, huge game. But yeah, so that wasn't going to happen. But Brent Pry, Mark Stoops, Tim Beck.
Wow.
Your coach killers. But also, like, if you go back and look, there are some programs that are coach killers, but it's because you just beat somebody to a pulp so bad that you have no choice. But there are some that are because they lost to you, right? This was a year where they lost to you. And that was, to them, was more of a reflection on them than it is you. This is not a place this program has to be. I don't think that makes anybody feel really good.
I don't feel good.
Well, for the morning meeting, we're going to talk through some of those feelings because we're going to talk about how this season made us feel. We'll take your calls and texts too, 803-404-6100. The early game morning meeting coming up next.
Press here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, it's no problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are, school, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass is here to take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows and mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at absoluteglassinc.com.
Fish Hatchery Road near Highway 6, accident there also in the Chapin area. Dutch Fork Road near Three Dog Road. So 2 areas to be mindful of the traffic pattern. Today, a high of 50 under cloudy skies. Rain will be coming in overnight. So I guess I'm hoping that the dog doesn't have to get up early in the night or early in the morning. 53 for the high tomorrow. We're going to have rain all day starting from about 1 a.m. to 4 p.m. Heavy rain possible. 46 right now.
Well, it's been a year, and after South Carolina's 28-14 loss to Clemson, that is it. Final record, final tally, 4 wins, 8 losses. And in a season where you're a preseason top 15, make you feel some things. So we're going to talk through some of that because Preston Thorne has created a feelings exercise for us to talk through what we've gone through this season.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day.
We're going to make it that way.
Let's go. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
And we're going to make it an awesome day, but we're going to talk through some things that make it maybe not so awesome.
Well, at the end of the season, it's important to take some time to reflect, to think back, to evaluate, all of those things that we all talk about. And as we're coming into the end of the year, this is a great time for you to do this personally, through fandom, through personal, whatever you want to do. So there's an exercise that I've used and I've come across, and it's called, very simply, Sad, Glad, Mad.
Okay.
Sad, glad, mad. It's 3 very simple categories. Sad, glad, mad. And in this case, we want to use this to evaluate how we felt about the season. And what we'd normally do is we'd have everybody draw like a circle, and you do like a pie chart. How much of the year were you sad? How much of the year were you glad? How much of the year were you mad? So,
oh boy.
Sad, glad, mad. Let's start with mad, because I have a feeling that'll be a pretty big one. What parts of the year made you mad?
Oh, buddy, where do I begin? Okay, if I'm a Gamecock fan, what would have made me really, really mad this year? All the procedural penalties that cost you the LSU game.
That was a big one.
The tackling in the Missouri game that allowed you to not win despite being up going into the fourth quarter. The entire fourth quarter of the Ole Miss game. 3 straight inside zones when you're in the red zone against Oklahoma.
Ooh.
And you have a chance to make a statement early against a team that will be going into the college football playoff, more than likely. Losing your lead against Alabama late and fumbling the ball on the last possession.
Okay.
Which ultimately set up Alabama's game-winning touchdown. And blowing a 27-point lead against Texas A&M in the second half. So the entirety of the second half against A&M.
Okay. Mad.
Mad.
Okay.
Yeah, those are mad.
For me, my singular maddest moment was the 4th down against LSU.
Throwing it right at Mansur Delane.
I think that was
trying him in that moment.
That was the maddest moment I had all year as a fandom, because it just felt utterly hopeless in that point. And that was the maddest I've felt all year. Jen, do you have a mad moment from this year?
Kind of hit on some of them, you know. And honestly, I'll get, I guess, more sad. But yeah,
it's fine. We can move into sad.
I think so, because you've hit on some pretty good high points there, or low points, points of anger.
Okay, Elijah. Now, as a Gamecock fan, what do you think would be your sad moments?
The saddest would be the pick 6 against Clemson.
That was sad.
Where you're sitting here and it's like, can I be mad at something that I've seen all year that I should have maybe clocked coming into that, right? Like when they got the ball, should you have expected? Because I tweeted out before that drive, something along the lines of, you have an opportunity here. Like, can you make the most of it? And the first comment was a bunch of laughy face emojis. And that was before the pick 6, right? Like, I mean, it was clocked by a lot of people, whether they're in the stands or watching on TV. I think that is kind of where it transcends mad into sad, where it's like, this is just what I've been watching all year. I think that would have been like the ultimate culmination of sadness. That, and I think you can maybe throw in some of that sad with the Alabama one too, just because you had it, and you can be mad at how you lost it, then sad that opportunity is now passed and your opportunities down the road, because you're going to have to go on the road against Ole Miss and Texas A&M, 2 college football playoff teams, and win, and you couldn't do it.
That's fair. I think my sad moment was when Lenoris got knocked out of the Vanderbilt game.
Oh, yeah.
That was a sad moment. For me, that was a sad moment. And it was, obviously, some football things happen, but from the way everybody described it, the air that got let out of that stadium and where you could see that team, it was an immediate sad boy moment for everybody in there. And then I don't know whether I was sad or mad when our best option was Luke Doty as the backup quarterback.
I think that's a really, really good one.
I don't know whether I wanted to be sad about that, but then I was kind of mad about that because I'm like, man, we can't. That should not be our answer.
No.
So that was bad. Okay, we know that we spent the majority. Now you can take this either way. Anyways, glad.
That first drive of the year was pretty cool, man. I'm not gonna lie, the first drive,
Let's go.
had you feeling invincible.
Yeah. We're starting a good thing here. We're preseason 13. We just had a fantastic opening drive. This is good. Yeah.
I would be the half rollout against Clemson, deep bomb to Nick Harbor made me glad.
That was a moonshot.
That was fun. I was like, oh, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. That was something that made me glad. Also, if I have to take this exercise to be honest about it, when we moved on from Mike Shula, that made me glad too. Even though I was mad and then I was sad because we wasted so much time. I was mad that he was there, sad because we wasted the time, but I was glad that we've moved on when we did. And ipso facto, the same thing for the old offensive line coach.
In terms of glad, too, because you mentioned the bomb that Lenore threw Nick Harbor against Clemson. All of the Nick Harbor bombs this year. You had a few. Virginia Tech. Mm-hmm. That was fun. You had those of Andreas Jacobs' bomb against Missouri. That was pretty cool on a free play. You had the Nick Harbor long touchdown pass against Ole Miss, against A&M, Alabama, and then Clemson in the year. You had a couple of deep shots that were very just naturally exciting plays.
Those were fun.
Genuinely exciting plays.
And don't forget Vicari Swain, 80-yard punt return.
How could we forget?
Very glad.
Very fun.
Going back
Virginia
to back
Tech game.
against South Carolina State, too. So you had the Virginia Tech game that broke the game open.
You know what made me glad? The students on the rain delay at South Carolina State.
Oh, yes.
That made me glad.
A lot of guys being dudes moments.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. That made me glad. I mean, unfortunately, when we didn't score on offense to the second half, then I got mad.
Yeah.
Or sad. I'm not sure how that decision.
Well, then it's late in the night, too, right? Like a game that's supposed to be already a late kickoff ended up getting delayed. Like we kicked that thing off after 9 o'clock. I think it was like 9:30 was when it kicked off. And then, of course, leaving that stadium when I did it, like, 1:30, 2 o'clock, being like, I don't like this. I'm sleepy.
So sad, glad, mad. Use it. It's one of my favorite tools to use. It's a quick, easy way that everybody can identify parts of the year when you were sad, when you were glad, and when you were mad. We might have to come back to this to evaluate the whole college football season as a whole.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. And surely some point in there, the week 0 aura farming for Stanford costing them the game. It's a lot of fun.
I'm still happy about
There's so
that.
many memorable parts. You know what? Yeah. Once the college football season ends, we will be revisiting sad, glad, mad. For sure. What made you sad? What made you glad? What made you mad this season? Answer those questions, too, whenever you call in, because we'll get to David on the other side. More of your calls, your texts, reacting to South Carolina's season-ending 28-14 loss to Clemson. All of that next here on The Early Game.
Dutch Fork Road near Three Dog Road. We do have a report of an accident there. Also, Fish Hatchery Road near Highway 6. Also, a tie-up. I-77 southbound at After Bluff Road. And Highway 21 near Pisgah Church Road. Things are a little bit slow. 50 for the high today. Tomorrow, we're going to have rain. 53 for the high. The rain starts overnight and continues till probably about 3 or 4 tomorrow afternoon, potentially heavy at times. On Wednesday, sunny and a high of 52. Right now, it's a chilly start at 46.
It's the last Reaction Monday of the year. It's the last Gamecock Reaction Monday because there's still more college football to be played this season, including conference title games, bowl games, and the college football playoff itself. We'll still be reacting to the sport of college football all the way up until late January. Just South Carolina's not going to be participating in any of it. 803-404-6100. It's AAA Heating and Air phone lines. We'll go out to David, who's been waiting patiently. Good morning, David. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, good morning, Elijah, Preston, Jen. How are y'all?
Fantastic. Doing all right this morning?
Yeah, well, as a Carolina fan, no, but as a whole, yes, I'm doing good.
Question is relative, I'm sure.
Preston, to your exercise, let's see. I'm sad that Vanderbilt has surpassed South Carolina. That's sad.
Good point.
I'm mad that Shane Beamer hired Mike Shula as the offensive coordinator. That should have never happened.
Good points.
And I'm happy the season's over, that I don't have to, stress about this over Saturdays for the next 9 months.
Nailed the exercise.
Thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. We're here for you. This is safe
appreciate
space.
it. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, man.
Good stuff. Oh, good stuff from David. Yeah, very correctly doing the exercise.
Great job. A+ call.
A lot that can make you sad, glad, and mad. Some highlights, a lot of lowlights. The Vanderbilt thing, too, I think is
That's
the
a
only
tough
thing
one
that you can point to. Even if we're just looking back on the season, the Vanderbilt game when Lenoris goes down and there's just no response after that, a sign. Yeah, like that, maybe a bellwether as to how the rest of the season would go for both those teams, right? Like, that was the game to me where I'm like, okay, Vanderbilt actually is really good. Like, maybe they have taken that next step. Because Vanderbilt did that to a few teams this year. Again, they were 10-2. And even in one of those losses, one was at Alabama where Vanderbilt kind of did it to themselves. Diego Pavia kind of cost them that game. And then against Texas, they got themselves in a big hole, but still just about erased a 3-score game in the fourth quarter because those guys have it, right? They were not going to let themselves get beaten like that. And they still gave themselves a really good chance to win that game. And then other than those two games, they've won everything else. Right? They even went to Tennessee.
Beat them down.
And beat them down in the second half. I mean, took it to them in that entire second half in that type of environment. A lot of teams in the SEC that had disappointing years looking at Vanderbilt and being like, how are you doing it? And we're not. Back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. We'll get to Tim on the line. Good morning, Tim. Welcome to the early game.
How y'all doing?
Pretty good. Doing all right?
Listen, I'm mad with the whole season. I'm sad with the whole season. And look, I got some comments here. Just bear with me a minute. Vanderbilt, I said last year that Vanderbilt was going to be a good team this year, and that Diego Pavia, he's a football player. I mean, just a plain football player. He looked like he played back when I did in the 70s. I mean, he's a football player. That being said, I like Shane Beamer a whole lot. I really do. I love his enthusiasm and all this, that, and other, but I think he's a good guy, but that ain't got nothing to do with it. I run a welding shop down here. I build big tanks for water systems. My job, they're paying me to get these tanks out on time and meet the deadline and do like I'm supposed to do. The tanks are supposed to be like I want them. I'm getting paid to do that. To me, he had the best offensive player that I've seen in football since Cam Newton, and probably before Cam Newton. I mean, Sellers just loaded, with potential. Okay. He had the number one, in my opinion, defensive player in football, Dylan Stewart, and he just done nothing with it. I mean, the offensive coordinator, that was a mistake, but you made it. We've been talking about the offensive line for 4 years. I mean, you're in charge of it. I mean, to me, if he could fix it, he already would have. I mean, that's just my opinion. But on the flip side of that, I've been a Carolina fan since '87, since I met my wife. I mean, I'm a Tennessee fan too, but she made me be a Gamecock fan. You know what I mean? So I'm pulling for them unless they play Tennessee. But the point is, Carolina ain't going to get no big-name coach right now. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say it right without being offensive. I told my wife this. I try to think logically. It's a business thing. They're paying me to do a job. You're getting paid to do a job. If you ain't capable of doing that job, they're going to get rid of it and put somebody in there that can. I mean, me, you, everybody's in the same boat. It ain't got nothing to do with like, dislike. It's business. Cut ties, get somebody else and start over. That's the way I look at it. Good, bad, or whatever. That's the way I just see things straight out. Look, I fired my baby brother twice back in the 90s. I fired people I liked a whole lot. That ain't got nothing to do with it. You ain't doing what you're supposed to do. It's time to go. That's about all I got.
Yeah, good stuff. Great call.
Good call as usual.
Yeah, and that's a life thing, man. You have a job. You have to be able to do what is required to succeed. Yes, I know the schedule is incredibly tough. We're going to look at the college football playoff and say, "Oh, I remember covering that game, against Ole Miss or." Against Alabama here at South Carolina. Like, I remember watching them beat South Carolina. They beat South Carolina, and you're close in a lot of those games, but, that's close doesn't cut it, right?
I mean, again, like, if you're doing welding and we're close, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
If my mechanic almost fixes my car, that's going to be bad.
Yeah, because the difference between almost and not doing it, I mean, it could be catastrophic, right?
Yeah. So you can't be close. Right. Not at this level, not on this stage, in this spotlight, this far into your career.
Yeah.
As a head coach.
I got a boat and I hit an iceberg. It doesn't matter if I almost didn't hit it. The fact of the matter is I hit it.
I almost missed it.
It's not that I almost missed it. The fact of the matter is you didn't. and now you have to live with the consequences of that, right? 803-404-6100. We'll go back to Wooly here on the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Good morning, Wooly.
Hey, I just want to say, it's still good to be a Gamecock, y'all.
True.
And let's just remember some things now. Fat Brad was the first coach to take us to win a bowl game, and that was after we got a few years of the SEC under our belt that we pulled that off. And then remember who Shane replaced, because that really was the dark age as far as I'm concerned in our recent sports history. Yeah, I'm just disappointed with this season, but, next year's coming, fellas, and we can do it again. That's all I got.
Yeah. Appreciate the call, Willie, and I appreciate the hopeful optimism.
I appreciate the perspective because I, like you, did not enjoy the Will Muschamp era.
No. And did you see he tweeted out that this year was the first time that he actually enjoyed Thanksgiving as a day?
Yes, we saw it.
And I'm like, you're such a pork chop.
We, Preston and I have discussed because we did the Lane Kiffin Hallmark movie bit.
Uh-huh.
Oh, trust me.
We're working on it.
College football coaching Hallmark movies. Let's just say the writer's room is having a field day with this. Yeah. The writer's room is on it right now.
Wow.
Because what is college football and coaching if not a bunch of drama?
Oh, my gosh. Kiffin, what?
Oh, man.
Appreciate that call, Willie.
Get there later.
So much drama in coaching. There's also a lot of drama of us watching this game in the press box. We'll get Jen's observations here on Reaction Monday because Jenny from the box is coming up next. All right, you've been giving your thoughts. Press and I have given us a lot of ours. But Jen gave me my first arm punch of the season, first real arm punch of the season on that Nick Harbor bomb. I think that's the first legitimate one. That's one of the many things that happened from our view in the press box. But now it's time from Jenny from the box.
Yeah, it wasn't really too bad, was it, though? I mean, I tried to soft, just like, what? But I will say, Elijah's hand was kind of flailing a little bit. Is this happening? Is this happening? I mean, it was like I think we saw once he broke on that post route, I think we both knew where that ball was going. Yeah, that was pretty exciting, I must say. We enjoyed that. Well, it was an interesting game for sure. Pre-game, we were kind of wondering what was going on because people weren't coming in. I think it was the cold because it filled in fairly well. But it was, kind of keeping an eye on that. Celebrity starter, nice surprise. See Craig Melvin, Columbia's own Craig Melvin coming in. So that was kind of fun. And he and the wife and kids were there. So getting him, thought maybe he'd bring us some luck. All right. But that was actually kind of fun. My big thing that was really upsetting me were the baton twirlers out there in their little skimpy outfits. It's cold.
They toughed it out.
I tell you what, pregame and halftime. They're in those little two-piece, whatever they are, and leotard things. And, you saw the dance team, they were in coordinated sweats. The cheerleaders were in coordinated sweats, all looking cute and comfy. So bless these girls. They deserve a raise of whatever they're not getting paid. They deserve more. Because, that was insane. So I worried about them all game. That's the mom thing. Did make the observation, nobody got to throw for a car this year. Usually in previous years, like somewhere in the game, they threw the footballs to put it through the hole. Didn't see that. And maybe we didn't last year, but I just realized I missed that.
I love the drama of those type of competitions.
Me too. Yeah.
Like in the SEC championship game where they have the big Dr. Pepper cans out there and you're throwing the ball through there and these kids are trying to get tuition money.
Yeah. So I was like, I kind of missed that this year. So we need to work on that for next year. I will say, fans obviously gave it up and it was just almost like there was a big fire drill. Everybody was hauling it. I get it. Till, we've had really good fan support all year long. So I do get that. We did see a couple in there that they weren't pressed. I don't know what they were doing in there. They're all brightly oranged up, but they did cheer a little bit and they kind of got the So I was hoping to see somebody get, tossed, but that didn't happen. But thumbs down to the Clemson coaches. They're in the booth on one end. They beat the tar out of that little room that they were in.
The wall took a beating.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, out of excitement. Oh, yeah. Anytime something happens, like boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
And it's like, all right, calm down. Apparently your first time winning or what? Like,
yeah, they were amped.
Oh, they were really amped. So, again, but had it been our coaches, I'd been, oh, this is cool. Excellent. But since it was them, I was just annoyed.
Yeah. It's passion. Yeah.
Totally annoyed. And my final thought is, blessed to Shake and Dave Aiken. He finished the fourth quarter. He finished a winner because
somebody had to.
When, he'll always say, it's another Carolina. And the crowd's supposed to say, first down. Bless him. He still amped it till the very, very end.
True pro.
So he was a true pro, 100%. And, the fans out there, he still kind of heard a first down. But.
So I was like, hey, they're still doing it. They're still going for it.
Yep.
They knew there's 2 minutes left in the season. This is a 2-score game, and this thing is essentially over.
Right. But we're there. But, yeah, so bless Dave, Dave Aiken. And he even said after the game, he's like, hey, game wasn't over. Still gotta bring it. So good for him.
Right.
Aiken Dave Aiken says, I ain't hear no bell.
Exactly. So those are some observations from the press box.
Yeah, Jen's right. Whenever that pick six happened, there was a mass exodus, which has kind of led to my, a new term that I just coined right now. That's a FEMA play. Because FEMA couldn't evacuate the stadium faster.
I like that.
I like that.
Than when that happened. So a pick six in that situation, my first ever dubbed FEMA play.
I like the FEMA play. I think that's good.
On that note, my brother, we was watching the game at my cousin's house, and he stated at that moment, I'm out. And he just picked up and got on the road.
I'm out. Yep.
Yeah, he's like, I got to drive the big. I'm sorry, I feel you, man.
I'm telling you, evacuated the stadium, probably evacuated some households like yours.
Yeah.
Some people may have evacuated some beverages, whatever. But
beverages.
I do have one quick observation about Jen's observation, Jen. Game 12, the first time that she did the shoulder punch. I think that means something.
It does, actually.
Yeah.
I think that means something.
That's a really good point because, I will get really amped up if I'm excited about something, not so much being mad.
Yeah.
So, there was never a threshold to have to punch him out.
Yeah.
So
I wear it as a badge of honor. It is definitely, it's one of those things, you're in for a really good game when Jen's getting so excited that you're getting like the...
I'd love to see the analytics on
Nudge?
arm punches from this year versus last year. I imagine there were a lot more last year.
Oh, man.
There were a few more.
A lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Walking out of that presser with a bloody arm after the Missouri game.
I bet it was...
the touchdown at the end of the Missouri game.
Yep.
All types of excitement. Didn't have that this year.
No.
Unfortunately.
No. Punch factor wasn't there.
My arm.
You survived.
Less
Bulk up
beaten
for
up
next
this
season because I've heard it's going to be a good season.
1,000,000%.
Billion.
1 billion.
So I gotta lift some weights, make sure things all good for next season. But I'll make sure I'm good for next hour. Hour number 3 coming up next.
Dutch Fork Road near Three Dog Road, an accident. Also Fish Hatchery Road near Highway 6. I-77 southbound after Bluff Road, also an accident. Back towards the Irmo Chapin area, Johnson Marina Road at Highway 76. And Highway 21 near Pisgah Church Road. Also a report of a slowdown. 50 is going to be a high today, 53 tomorrow, 52 on Wednesday. But The morning rain tomorrow will start overnight, and rain should be continuing throughout the day until maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, perhaps. Potentially heavy rains at times. So it is going to be kind of messy tomorrow. And again, only a high of 53. By Thursday, 56.
Long hour starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. He's Randy Young, our engineer, back from vacation. Going to talk about a reaction Monday from Randy. He was out last week visiting family in Texas. They're all Texas A&M grads, and well, they got their Texas A&M experience.
Yeah,
this weekend too.
It wasn't that 8-4 came from, but something did come for them.
Losing to Texas came for them, right? Yeah. You might have, avoided the Mike Myers always lurking around, which is 8-4, but you got Jason Voorhees instead, which is the Texas Longhorns. Which
also shout out to Tim from earlier, because he said he's a Gamecock fan by marriage.
By marriage, yeah,
Gamecock
married
in
into
law,
it.
but then he's naturally a Tennessee fan, and woof.
Both victimized by Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia. Yeah.
Tough weekend.
Tennessee got up 21-14, and I was like, okay, this looks like I figured going into that game neither team was going to stop each other, because their defenses haven't been exceptional. Vanderbilt's defense has definitely regressed over the course of the year, and Tennessee's just didn't have it. This was a year going into it. I was like, okay, they've lost a lot defensively. They're probably not going to be what they have, and they're going to have to rely on that offense scoring a ton of points, which I thought they'd be like a 6-6, 7-5 team. So they still played above what my expectation for them would have been. But, buddy, they just quit scoring. Vanderbilt said, okay, we're going to be in a shootout. Okay, we'll be scoring for all 4 quarters. And Tennessee said, wait, you're scoring for all 4 quarters? We just signed up for 2. I think they scored, 3 points in the second half, something like that. But Vanderbilt victimized both of his teams this season. And that's part of the frustration for a lot of folks, is seeing Vanderbilt be 10-2, and Vanderbilt have a really good shot at playing in the college football playoff. A lot of 10-2 or better teams in the SEC. Figuring that part out is going to be tough when it comes to fielding a college football playoff. But we'll get back to the AAA heating and air phone lines, because it is Reaction Monday. We are reacting to South Carolina's season-ending 28-14 loss to Clemson in a big rivalry game on Saturday. We'll get to Hank first, who's been waiting patiently. Hank, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, good morning, fellas. I tell you, mostly the season has ended. I tell you, I don't know about, I guess, Beamer. I would call for his head, I guess. Yeah, he got to fix things. The speech after the game is so him, but I don't think that anybody wanted to hear it at that time. But when I looked at the game Saturday, it seemed to be just a microcosm of what's going on this season. It was Clemson came out, and finally their defensive line played the way that they was projected to play all year long, and our offensive line played about the same way that we have been projected. I think that Shane's got to fix you got to get a good offensive coordinator, and it's got to fix the O-line, because even if you go back to last year, we won in spite of the O-line, not because of it. Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing that just kills you. It's not like the O-line just had this year and it's been a disappointment. It was a disappointment. Last year, that O-line probably cost us a Vanderbilt year that they had this year. So I think if he can get that fixed, we're not even speaking of recruits after the game, just to keep them, because the vulture's out. So maybe that's it. But just looking forward to next year, and tip of the hat to the fans all year long. Even the Citadel game after A&M, they had that place.
Mm-hmm.
So
they did.
that's all I got to say.
They absolutely did. Appreciate the call as always, Hank. Yeah, and when it comes to Shane, that's the one part of Hank's call I really wanted to get to is this is the off season, right? This past off season was big because you needed to build on the success you had in 2024, right? How you follow up successes is how you define a program, right? When a team in a 10-year stretch maybe has 1 or 2 8, 9-win seasons, you wouldn't call them a great program. You would call them, those individual teams, good teams. If you want to build a program, you follow up the success that you had in previous years with other successful seasons. You make that winning a habit, not a flash in the pan, not a mirage. You make it a reality. And when you follow up a 9-win season with a 4-win season, you have kind of erased the margin for error that you have. You have to nail the OC hire. You have to nail the transfer portal evaluations. All of the little things, too, that you just didn't do this season, you have to do next season. Because if we're talking about the long-term health of this program, if Shane wants to be the one running the ship long into the future, then you're going to have to follow up on that promise of being relevant when the college football playoff rankings come out, because you can't follow up 4-8 with another like year, because then we see the trend that it's going in, and it's not good.
Yeah, I don't think that wouldn't afford him another opportunity.
No,
that would not. Hank brought up a really interesting point that I did not think of, and so I really appreciate the call, because I, like you, Hank, and like many of you, I don't want to hear you talk about next year we're going to be back in this spot. But maybe he's not talking to me. Maybe he's talking to recruits. Maybe he's putting a, sort of a Batman sign up to anybody who will listen. And you know what? I will take that back. I still feel the way I feel, but that may be a different perspective in using the press through that media. So that is an interesting perspective. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That point of view.
Like a lot of coaches do. A lot of coaches will use that platform to do that.
I'm just saying I didn't want to hear it.
Right.
I don't want to hear
right.
it. I'm just saying it's me personally. I can't speak for anybody else. Just me, I want to hear it.
But most pivotal offseason yet, and not to totally sound like Kenny Loggins here, but this is it. Make no mistake where you are.
What a banger.
This is it. We'll go back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Marv is on the line. Good morning, Marv. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just got a really quick question for you. Was this year a product of coaching like you've arrived as opposed to coaching like you're trying to get there? And I'll hang up and listen.
Ooh, that's a good question, Marv. Coaching like you've arrived or coaching like you're trying to get there? I think there might be an element of that. I can't say definitively, because when it comes to maybe a lot of like the coaching failures this team has had this year, a lot of it is a mix of both play calling and player development. Earlier in the show, Marv, we broke down how the lack of development has really plagued you this season. A lot of guys that were developing at the end of last year, guys like Josiah Thompson at left tackle, guys like Lenore Sellers at quarterback, who undoubtedly played their best football in the last 6 weeks of the year. Last year did not build on those 6 weeks. Not only did they not build on those 6 weeks, they didn't get better as this season progressed. If you look on the offensive side of the ball, outside of Nick Harbor and Jaden Sellers for the last couple of games, I can't find a lot of players that I can say, yeah, you got significantly better as the season went along, and that's what hurts you. That's why you still lose a lot of games in the fourth quarter, and that's why we're still talking about the same things here now on December 1st that we were talking about on Reaction Mondays after Missouri, after LSU, after Alabama, after Ole Miss, after Texas A&M. You didn't finish games, and we're talking about the same things that have been plaguing the team all season long. And we've gotten into broken record territory in terms of the things that have plagued this team, and that lack of development is why you're 4-8. That's how you end up not creating your own luck in close games, is because there is that lack of development. I don't know if I have a really good answer as if that's a byproduct of coaching like you've already arrived as opposed to where you want to be, but it is a byproduct of coaching failures.
Another great call, and I think as you were talking, I think my response would be maybe they were coaching the players as if the players had arrived.
Ooh.
And what I mean by that is that was last year's team that did that. Yes. Y'all did not do any of this. Mm-hmm. Just because, like, some of you didn't even have the jersey on, or if some of you did have the jersey on, you were on the sideline. So it wasn't y'all that won 9 games. It wasn't y'all that were in the CFP conversation. That was them. Those dudes are not here anymore. And maybe to Marv's point, maybe they coached this team as if there was just going to be a continuity just because they were around. But then you realize, like, hey, those weren't the same guys, and maybe they had to take a different approach. I'm not sure, but there was obviously a fundamental breakdown between what the team expected and how they were coached to get there.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that I didn't think about until you kind of mentioned it, and that can explain why the player development doesn't happen, right? If you think they are finished products. I mean, it could be easy to look at Lenore Sellers and how he finished last season and say, look, he was arguably the best quarterback in college football for the second half of the year last year. Just keep doing what you're doing. But there still maybe have been some things on tape that needed to be corrected, right? Maybe some things in his process, whether it's decision-making on the football field or kind of catering an offense towards his skill set, that you still have to do. There's still development that needs to happen, right? And yes, I understand progress isn't linear, but there is still an expected growth that you have to be able to make, especially when you have players that are already really talented, right? Like Josiah Thompson's not a 5-star high school football player that was Mr. Football in the state of South Carolina for just no reason, right? There's a reason he was coveted by every school in America to be their left tackle. But there has to be growth once you get into the building. You're not a finished product. There's so many times, like look at some of the players that were the key cogs last year in the machine. Kyle Kennard, was he a finished product in year 2? No. But there was some developing that needed to be done to get him to where he ultimately became a really good player at Georgia Tech and an even better player at South Carolina. Demetrius Knight, the same way, right? His long college career saw various stops, but development was needed. He was never a finished product, and he's still developing in the NFL right now.
Debo, Tonka,
yeah.
Boogie. All these
TJ,
guys,
especially. Yeah.
All these guys came in with the raw materials, and they were good, but over time they were developed. And that might be an argument that they're saying, hey, we can do this. But they didn't coach, to Marv's point, none of the guys that were on the field this year were really part of that. And so maybe they needed to be approached and said, like, hey, what we did last year, that was them. We're in a whole different era, especially with the way that rosters change over. Now, to your point, though, about everybody can see Lenoris's regression because we can all watch the quarterback, and maybe that's some things we're familiar with. But I would argue that Josiah Thompson, Dylan Stewart, they both also regressed, or at least did not progress.
Yes.
Right? So at least maybe Dylan's.
I could put Dylan in the didn't progress.
He didn't make he didn't progress the way he should have. And it's tough to see because he still makes a lot of really cool plays.
Yeah, he was a better run defender this year than I think he was last year. He was better in the run game. That will kind of came out of him a little bit in the run game.
But he just needs to take another step. Will he take another step? Will he take another step here? I mean, that's a question that needs to be asked. All of those things need to be asked. I think the development process, they got everything that they need. Now they have to be able to develop them and build a team identity, because right now the team identity is 4-8.
It is. It is exactly what the record is.
You are what your record says you are.
Yeah, Bill Parcells is somewhere tipping his cap, to that sentiment. But when it comes to looking at how this season happens, right? It doesn't happen in just one game. It doesn't happen in one practice. It's kind of a culmination of things throughout the year. Like look at Ole Miss, because earlier in the show we kind of cited where South Carolina and Ole Miss were in terms of being the two teams that had a realistic shot of getting into that positive blue chip ratio going into next year, right? Where you're a recruiting cycle away. They're a recruiting cycle away from essentially having more 4 and 5 stars on the roster than non 4 or 5 stars. And as Bud Elliott has pointed out, and he has studied this extensively over the course of the last 15 years, that teams that win national championships have to have that. Like that's like the bare minimum, right, of winning a national championship. And just to put in perspective how close you and Ole Miss were in similar boats there in terms of being really close to breaking that 50% threshold, but you're in the same boat because you're the only two that really had a shot to do it within a year. Ole Miss used it to be 11-1. And they did so with their backup quarterback taking over early in the season and Wally Pipping Austin Simmons, who a guy coming into the year I thought was going to be the reason that they were 8-4, 9-3. But Trinidad Chambliss took over that job and took them to places they've never been.
Man, you are preaching right now. I want to get up and say amen, because our backup quarterback, shout out to Luke, that's awesome, cool, but we also went in the portal and never seen the dude.
Nope.
It's now either that was an evaluation miss or a development miss, and I can lean on both of them.
Yeah.
Because who knows? But to your point, that point you just made about them going into the portal, getting a guy from Ferris State and develop him into a CFP quarterback, that's very interesting. Another area where we failed this year.
It is, but in an area we don't fail is that every Monday at 8:15, it's Thorns, Buds, and Roses. We'll get Preston's Outcast Fuel takes coming up next year in the early game. Reaction Monday continues here in the early game, third and long hour. But this time, we'll get a little assistance from our friends over at Outcast because it's time for Thorns, Buds, and Roses.
It's time for Thorns, Buds, and Roses with Preston Thorne on the early game. 107.5 The Game.
All right, y'all, here we go. Lots of things happening this weekend. College football is amazing, which will provide a lot of thorns, a lot of duds, and roses. So let's go with this. Thorns. What's a catch?
Oh, my God. Dude.
Do we know what a catch is? I know it's the eternal question. As I put on Twitter, maybe Socrates was trying to answer that question. Maybe Plato was coming out of the cave trying to answer that. But we don't know what a catch is because, listen, man, I'm inclined to agree. I don't want to blame the referees for the calls, whatever. The interception, did the ball hit the ground? Yes. Did he lose possession? No. I tend to agree that it was an interception. However, we don't know what a catch is, and we've never been able to determine this. It seems to be a moving target.
There's no precedent that has been set, right? Like, it is, the goalposts have moved on what is a catch so many times.
Does he have to do a football move with it? If it comes loose into the catch, can the ground cause a fumble? Can it cause an incompletion? I don't know. Just let me know what the rules are. Like I said, I tended to agree with that call. I was all right with it. Fine, whatever. Another thorn. Our uniforms. Shane, I don't know, I know you got a lot of stuff to do, but I need you to get this done immediately. Make sure those dudes wear their uniforms properly, man. It's a blight because we have really cool uniforms that we're ruining with undershirts not tucked in. Some guys have long shirts, some guys have short shirts, long socks, short socks, man. Let's get it together, be uniformed. Again, to quote Lou Holtz, we win as a team, we lose as a team, we wear as a team. It's fine. We all wear the same things. If we want to do a couple of little special things for my diva wide receivers, we'll give them a little bit of grace. But the linemen, come on, man. You can't be big and sloppy. Not a good look. Don't like the uniforms. Duds. Two of my favorite dudes this weekend were provided duds, and it was really, to go back to sad, mad, and glad, it made me sad. Nick Saban, Booger McFarland. I really enjoy and respect both of you as football minds. Booger as maybe the best underrated nose guard in NFL history. Nobody talks about that. Everybody loves Sapp, but Booger was the real one who put in the work. But, man, the way y'all carried Lane's water all weekend without being any type of objective, obviously Saban, you being close to the situation, he said he was going to call you, and then you're acting like it's everybody else's issue, and then Booger, you having the LSU connection. I don't think they were objective, in which they normally are, which is I really do value their opinions, especially the Saban and Booger. So they were duds this weekend. Roses, 12 black roses for the end of the season. A season that was filled with much disappointment, much frustration, much anger. All of the emotions we did not hope to feel, we felt this year. So if nothing else, we can put our emotions in a little box, put them in the side, put the black roses over them, bury them, and now we can maybe enjoy the rest of the CF football season because there's still a lot of fun things that can happen and will happen, and we don't even have to be involved in them anymore. We're good. We dusted that thing off.
December is free.
We're free. You're free to do whatever you want. Class dismissed. If you were just staying in class because you needed the extra credit, you know how you're like, I got to stay for the extra credit. Nope, you don't have to show up anymore. You're good.
Exempt from the exam.
You served your time. If you want to come for extra credit and watch any other CFP, you can. But we are done with this class. Elijah, those are our thorns, buds, and roses.
Now, the duds when it comes to Booger McFarland, Nick Saban, and I'll put Kirk Herbstreit in this too, of really campaigning for Lane to still being able to coach Ole Miss was disheartening.
Yes.
Because those guys know, as well as anybody, what happens in December. You're not only, if you're in the college football playoff, you're not only coaching and doing the weekly basis stuff, but it's National Signing Day. You're bringing recruits in the building. You're setting up coaching staff because the coaching carousel isn't just head coaches, it's assistant coaches, right? If Charlie Weiss Jr. wanted to take a job somewhere else, if Pete Golding wanted to take a job somewhere else, or if your quarterback's coach or offense line coach, whoever wants to go somewhere else, you're going to have to refill some spots. You are setting up for the next season because that's just how college football works. Like, I know we will complain about the calendar all the time, but when it's college football, you still have to work by whenever students enroll in school. If you want them on the team and to practice in the spring, they must be able to enroll before a certain date in January to be on campus so they can practice with you in the spring, right? And the same thing for coaches. Spring practice happened, coaches need to be, in place. You can't effectively do the other job and yours at the same time, especially when it comes at the expense of Ole Miss, which is exactly what it would have done. If he stayed, you know what he's doing when he's not conducting practice and game prepping? He's scouring who's going to potentially be in the portal. Who knows? Those kids at Ole Miss might be going into the portal. And you know what? He'd be recruiting your own kids to go follow them, right? It would not do Ole Miss any good for future success if you were to let him stick around.
He might send up a tweet with a random Caribbean country's flag in the Twitter bio. He might do that. Oh, he just did that about an hour ago. You can't trust this dude. I think that was the fear. And so, like, I have people in my life that I know and love, but I know you can't trust them.
Can't trust them. You're not trusting them with certain things.
Yeah, and so Saban, I'm not saying you can't have a relationship with him or talk with him, but you got to call this one down the line, and he did not do that. So one of the rare times that the GOAT has disappointed me, but he did this weekend.
Yeah, that was a little disheartening, I would say. We'll go ahead and continue more on that Lane Kiffin story because, yes, I know maybe some people have Lane Kiffin fatigue, but it is the story that took over an NFL Sunday. It was a Sunday in late November where the NFL was not the story in the world of football because this is a rare instance where a coach of a team that is going into the college football playoff is leaving them to take another job of a team that went 7-5. And we'll discuss more of that. We'll also get to Richard on the AAA heating and air phone lines. All that and more coming up next here in the early game.
Dutch Fork Road near Three Dog Road, still a slowdown there, and that's because there were some power lines and power poles down right there at the Quickway, so things are going to be taking a little time to get cleared up. I-20 eastbound at Highway 1, an accident, also getting things cleaned up. Johnson Marina Road at Highway 76, and of course the heavy traffic that we expect, I-26 eastbound between exit 102 and Bush River Road. And your forecast for today, not too bad. We're looking for a high of about 50. Then the rain comes in overnight, somewhere after midnight. And then the rain will continue through tomorrow afternoon. 53 for the high, sunshine for Wednesday, and high 52. It's 44 currently on the early game.
And like we have all show long, reacting to South Carolina's season-ending 28-14 loss to Clemson. We'll get back to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines where Richard is on the line. Good morning, Richard. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. Doing all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for taking my call. Two things. I just wanted two things. That's not an interception. The ball plainly hit the ground. Even the Clemson people were shocked that they upheld that call. And I'm not going to say that cost us the game, but if they call that an incompletion, we kick a field goal there. It's 2017. Maybe things are different. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are. But this definitely wasn't an interception. You can't use the ground to catch the ball. The other thing I'd like to talk about is Preston. Once again, you're 100% correct. We look like slobs out there. Complete and total slobs. With our T-shirts hanging out, our pads hanging out, our guts hanging out. It just looks completely unprofessional. And that's how we play, like slobs. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Richard. Yeah.
I'm just saying, man, it's just something that is glaring. I mean, I watched a lot of college football over the weekend. The way we wear our uniforms is not appealing, and it doesn't help when you're not performing.
Will Lou Holtz ever give you guys the fit check before games?
Oh, no, it was fit check all the day. You already know what it was. If you go back and watch, if you can see them through the Betamax, if you watch, I mean, we was all wearing the same uniforms. What we could do is you could spat up your cleats, which is, tape your cleats up if you graded out a winner.
Okay.
So if you were a winner, you could do some of the extra little things that makes you look sweet. But if you don't grade out a winner, nah, man, you just in standard issue gear.
It's like you're my player in 2K,
Exactly.
If you have a couple good games, you get to level up and add some cool accessories and all that. Not like, kids in Fortnite that will pay actual money to be able to level up. No,
yeah,
you cannot.
You got to do something with that. And I mean, again, is that why they lost the game? I don't know, but just looking at it, it's not an appealing visual product, and I do think it might, as Richard said, maybe small. They always talk about the little things, touch the line, all small details. Well, if that's a huge detail and that's how you look, then I don't know if you're taking care of any of the other details throughout the week. It's just an observation.
And then, of course, the biggest story of the weekend was Lane Kiffin taking the LSU job and doing something that we have never seen in the college football playoff era. A coach who is coaching a college football playoff team leaves before the playoff to take another job. Now, we've seen a backup quarterback do it with Malik Murphy at Texas. We have seen certain players, Bo Perbula
hit the portal.
Yep, a backup quarterback. Yep, taking a starting job somewhere else. But a head coach doing this is the wildest thing, and it should be a surprise to no one that it's Lane Kiffin is the one who did it. And that despite all of the narrative around him changing, that he's a changed man, that he does hot yoga now.
Do yoga.
He loves to sit where he's uncomfortable.
I read a devotional.
Like, you remember that the first part of the E60, he's talks about why he's doing hot yoga. He goes, it forces me to sit in discomfort and be uncomfortable. When really all he's done his entire career is run to the next thing, is seek out comfort or attention. I don't know what it is.
I think it's attention.
It's definitely the attention. I've come around to the man is craving attention.
Because there are, if this situation had to present itself, there are a lot cleaner ways that he could have taken care of this than the ultimately worst road that he chose.
Yeah. This is like the worst possible thing. And we talked about this before the show this morning. How many times in people's lives does an opportunity come up, but you turn it down because the timing's not right? You would have loved to take that opportunity, but that's not the right time to do it. This is one of those instances. This is one of the cases. And honestly,
you just live with regret like the rest of the human beings do. It's like, man, that might have been a cool thing to do, but you know what? I have this, I did this, and this is the path that I chose. It's a part of life.
And here's the thing that I find so fascinating. Nobody learns a lesson here. Lane Kiffin had this very same thing happen in 2009. He's at Tennessee for a year. They improve. They have a good recruiting class coming in. All signs are pointing to progression with that program. Southern Cal opens up. He takes the Southern Cal job. He gets this incredible backlash, and he's the villain in college football, one of those hated people in college football for that year, and goes to Southern Cal, and guess what? Less than 4 years later, he's fired on a tarmac after a loss to Arizona State, right? Where they're 1-3. And the whole character, quote unquote, arc for Lane Kiffin was that he learned his lesson from that he learned the lessons from the stops of going to Nick Saban's coaching rehabilitation program and being the offensive coordinator and still finding his way out before a national championship game because he can't do the two jobs at the same time.
Exactly. He went to the rehabilitation program, but he did not get his certificate because Saban booted him.
Yep.
He said, man, nah, we can't have this.
Go ahead and get
that's why I was so disappointed in Nick. I was like, Nick, you were the one that said he can't do this.
Yeah, because he showed you that, right? Like, if anybody should know this, it's Nick Saban. And then from the whole thing, you come back to Ole Miss building it to, honestly, a point where is LSU that much more equipped to win than Ole Miss right now? Because Lane Kiffin's proven it. He's proven he can get to where he wants to go. And Ole Miss has proven that they're going to match any offer. They've proven they will give him whatever he wants.
As we stated before, Ole Miss, longtime bagmen. They want to spend money.
They need winning more than they need air over there, right? They're willing to spend the money and do whatever Machiavellian tactic to get them those wins, whatever possible. And then if you're LSU too, yes, the hire on paper is a really good hire because Lane Kiffin is a really good coach, despite all of the phoniness and the snake oil salesman tactics that have gone around him going from place to place and being a nomad. He can really coach ball. But Brian Kelly was the same way. Brian Kelly could really coach ball, and he proved that he does not care about the team that he's coaching because he left when they were number 6 in the country, and if they got a generous blessing from the committee, could have been the 4th team in the playoff that year. Wow. And that didn't stop him from leaving. So guess what? You brought in the same archetype of human being. If this doesn't work at LSU, they only have themselves to blame because they would have made the exact same mistake they did last time if this were to not work.
And you put Lane's ego combined with the governor, all of this stuff that's happening. Maybe it works. I don't know though, man. I don't know.
See, and that's the thing too. It's a gamble on both sides, and just all that we were spoon-fed, like the E60 documentary, or E60 piece, not necessarily documentary. E60 piece. I will not call it a documentary.
It's not a documentary.
Differentiation here. Yep. Documentary's a little more independent. Love Ryan McGee, and I think he did a good job of telling the story of Lane Kiffin. But Lane Kiffin portrayed himself to be somebody who has changed.
The story ended just too short. If we could just premiere that E60 next month and just have a slight addendum to it.
Yes.
Just
an extra chapter.
Just another chapter, a prologue. I mean, just let what happened at the end of this story, because Lane made this as messy as possible, and he chose no other way, and he's not learned any lessons, and he still continues to try and play the victim. He's putting out social media posts. He's doing all the Lane things without any of the lessons that he supposedly learned.
You know what Bob Seger would tell you? He's still the same. No one's standing in your way. The only person standing in his way is him. And I've just never seen somebody more committed to the bit of tarnishing a reputation than Lane Kiffin is committed to the bit of tarnishing a reputation. Or somebody who allegedly likes to sit in discomfort only wants to go where there is less discomfort. Because you know what the hard thing to do is? Continue winning at the place you're at. You can make excuses when you go to another place.
Yeah, the clock resets. I built this place up. And also it's about me. I did this. Look what I brought to this place. Look how I did this. And so it's still so one thing I do agree with Lane, this was not a decision about money. Because I don't think this was not a money decision. Ego, yes. Money, not so much so. So the money is whatever, because he's been taken care of his whole life.
Yeah.
He's been wealthy for a long time. So it wasn't about money, but was it about his ego?
It's not a winning proposition, but what is the winner segment brought to you by the Golden Spur, and that's next. Oh, and you guys have been winners all morning because our winner segment brought to you by the Golden Spur goes out to you. Reaction Monday, always bringing it with calls, texts, all the reaction. And we have a couple final words we want to get out here, so we'll get to Scott first on the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Scott, appreciate you. Oh, no, Scott has dropped off, so we'll go to Mac instead. One man's hang up is another man's opportunity, and that's Mac. So, Mac, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning, fellas. I hope y'all enjoyed your Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Couple things. I'm from South Carolina, and I guess over the last 2 decades, I've heard we don't have the facilities, we don't have the players, we don't have the funding coming in, we don't have the resources, we don't have the coaches, and on and on and on. So let's fast forward to now. I hear we're getting the players, even though the majority of them are 3 or 4 stars, where other teams are getting some 5 stars, the upper echelon team. You got the facilities, you got the resources, but when you lose, but when the game is close, then the haters come out. I hear, well, Vanderbilt is winning, Indiana is winning, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And people are saying, why can't we do what they're doing? So, let's make a long story short. Maybe it's not the players that you're bringing in. I know y'all was talking about development. And Preston, you said you played sports. And I played sports. I ran track mainly. I did that on my own. I got a free scholarship, so I had to motivate myself to do that. If these fellas are not willing to do that, then how much more can a coach push them other than cutting them? But maybe it's not the players. Maybe it's the coaches that are being brought in. If you look at it over the years, you had Lou Holtz, then you had Spurrier. I'm not going to mention Muschamp and the other ones because Texas didn't want Muschamp. Nothing against Beamer. He's done better than what I expected. All the schools he's coached at, and he still didn't have a head coaching job. And the last option for South Carolina was him. So, is it the administration, or is it that coaches do not want to come here because there is a tradition? 7-5, 8-4, 9-3, outside of the Spurrier years.
Mac, we only got about a minute left, so I want to be able to respond to it to answer that question. Appreciate your call, but yeah, we're running up against time, so I want to kind of address that. When he's asking what is it, I think it's obviously a concoction of all different things. I think for this year specifically, I think a lack of development is a coaching thing because that is what their job is for them to develop. And I understand the personal responsibility aspect from the players because you got to make yourself obviously motivated and pushed to make that jump you're supposed to make, but it is the coach's job. That is what they are paid all that money to do, is to make that development happen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of great points, but the only thing I would say is that motivation is cool, but if I don't know what I'm doing, doesn't matter how motivated I am.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen a lack of motivation. I think they're out there trying.
Because they're trying, yeah.
But I don't think they have the skills, which is a skill thing, to know how to finish games.
Especially, finishing part. Especially because how many games this year has it been a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, and you don't close it out? Well, we'll close out today's show. Thank you all for calling, texting, all the good stuff on Reaction Monday. Your winners are Golden Spur winners of the day. Tyler Head, Jack Veltri, they're winners, and they're next.